Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Tam Pham from botacademy.com. And today we have Andrew Warner, and we're both going to teach you about landing clients for the fourth module of the Bot Academy course. Andrew, what are we going to cover today?
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the one that many people signed up for, and many people who went through the program before found was worth the price of admission for the whole program. So we're going to show you how to get clients, and let's turn off our video so people can focus on the material, and we'll come back at the end here with your assignment. So just again to repeat and show you how this fits in with everything we've been doing so far. We have four major modules, four major components here. The first is about building bots. You now know how to do that, which is important because it's going to come in handy with what you're going to see us do today. Then we talked about copywriting. Then we talked about how to grow your subscribers. Today is where you take it all together and you bring it to clients. Now, before we start, I don't usually do this in these modules. I like to get right into the tactics, but I think it's important to have a PSA, a public service announcement, because there's a problem that you're going to experience that I need to keep you from experiencing. Here's what happened. A while back, someone on my team said, I have one big regret in having worked for you. I said, what's the regret? I thought we were okay. Said, yeah, my big regret was that I never offered to take on the email marketing for the company. I said, email marketing? He said, yeah, I figured out how to use it, how to use the software. I understood how to do it. I actually had other clients on the side that I was doing it for because I wasn't full-time with you, Andrew. I should have told you about it. I said, you know how to do email marketing so well you could get other clients on the side? She said, yeah. I said, why didn't you ever come to me with this and offer to do our email marketing? He said, truthfully, you knew how to do it. You knew how to use the software. It seemed so easy. I didn't think you'd want to hire someone when you already knew how to do it. I said, you could have saved me so much freaking time and frankly money too. Yeah, I knew how to use email software and I knew a little bit about email marketing, but I didn't have the time to do it. I had a whole business to run. I can't figure out how to send out each weekly email and how to create the drip campaigns in it. I ended up paying some guy $150 an hour to do it, and I didn't enjoy working with him nearly as much as I enjoyed working with you. I said, yeah, I didn't know that until after I had a bunch of clients. And that's when I realized that you were killing yourself for a long time and then you were spending too much money. I wish I told you about it. And so the reason I'm starting off with this PSA and taking time to make this statement to you is because I'm worried that there are people who've gone through this program who now know how to create a bot, who now know how to create content for a bot, who now think, hey, this is so simple, that they might undervalue their knowledge and undervalue the fact that many companies don't know it. Most companies, in fact, and most companies, even if they do know it, don't want to waste their time creating bots and understanding copywriting and updating their sequences. They don't want to learn how to build their own websites. They don't want to learn how to create their own bots. They don't want to do it. They need to focus on their business. So I don't want you to get into a point where you listen to that little voice inside your head that says, this is too easy. No one's going to want to pay me for it. Or how about the other one? I'm not good enough yet. I have to learn more. I have to be a developer. I have to do this. I have to do that. No, consider this your public service announcement. I don't do this often. Don't expect me to do this more. Don't listen to that voice. Focus on the goal that brought you here, which is to get so good the clients will pay you for it. Focus on the understanding you have that you do not want to go milk your own cow, even though you know how to do it. You want to go to the store and get milk from someone else and you're happy paying for it. I'm happy paying for people to manage my email. Most businesses are happy to pay for people to manage their websites. There are businesses out there that want you to run their bots and you know how to do it by now. Okay. PSA over. Let's get into the content here. Let's get into the tactics. Another thing that people bring up that's worth bringing up right now is they will go through this process and then they'll say, Andrew, this isn't working. And I remember one time I said to the person I was talking to, show me your screen, and he did. I said, go into your sent mail folder, and he showed it to me. Let me see all the emails that you sent out. And he went in there and he showed me 3 emails. And I said, no wonder it's not working. You sent out 3. You feel like the whole world hates you. 3 is not enough. 3 is not enough. Later on in this program, you're going to see someone who sent out hundreds of messages. Most people won't even send out 1. So work the system. Keep sending it out. We're going to have a systemized way for you to know how well you're doing and to make sure that you're actually staying on top of your work. All right. So let's get into it. Here is your superpower for this module. By the end of this module, you're going to be able to sell bot services, and this last word is important, systematically. Not chaotically, systematically. Not hoping, not luck, but a system that you keep improving. That's my goal for you, and that's what you're going to be able to do at the end of this program. You're going to know the exact steps that you're going to build in order to have a systemized sales process. You will know how to keep track of your progress, how to have stats done right. You will see how one of our members who's going through this program with you, like you right now, hasn't even gone through it yet all the way. You're going to see how he has already been using the system and improving on it for himself and customizing it. And you're going to see how you can too. You're going to see what we learned when we invited some of the best students from the first version of this program to meet us in person here in San Francisco. You're going to see how they figured out how to simplify their work after they get a client and how it allows them to get more clients. You're going to see where you should go to look for clients, for people who will actually pay you for the work that you do. You're going to know the email that you send out to them before you sell so that you don't look like a guy who's just trying to promote. You don't look like a woman who's too pushy. You're going to know how to send out the email, and you'll get the exact template that you can use to get clients. And by the way, when I say send out an email to get clients, I understand that we also mean LinkedIn InMail, which is what their system is, or Facebook Messenger, or whatever you want to use. The system will still work there, as you will see. You're also going to know how to do a demo that explains to people exactly what their bot will do for them. You're going to see how not to sell a client based on my experience talking to Mike Camo. And you're going to know the 2 things that you should charge for and what's coming up next after this program. If you think this is over, no, the stuff that comes up after that, we're going to show you that. All that's coming up in this module. Let's start with setting up your system. Setting up your system is the most important thing. It's the fundamental, the foundation. Everything else will be built on it. And I want you to understand that even though you need software, I don't care what software you use. Use whatever software you want. Use software, though, to keep yourself systemized. Don't keep it in your head. Don't believe that you know what you need to do and that you're doing it right. Have software that verifies that you're on track. This is Pipedrive, the software that we're going to be using in this module. I'm not married to Pipedrive. I don't have Pipedrive's babies. I don't want to French kiss Pipedrive. I don't care if you use any other software. But your software must have steps, clear steps that you and your team later on will follow to sell your bots, and you have to have stats so that you know that you're keeping on track of it. So again, Pipedrive is not the only one that's out there. There are others. Here's one that many people in this program have liked and have told me they prefer to Pipedrive. I'm not hurt. It's called SalesFlare. What I like is if you look at SalesFlare, just like Pipedrive, it has clear steps. A lot of people have been copying Pipedrive's process for organizing sales. Stinks for Pipedrive, and I do love Pipedrive, but it's great for you. It means you have a lot of options. Okay. Start, before you do anything else, by setting up each step of your sales process. Here is what that will look like. Each step has its own column, and we're going to explore each column in a moment. But what you're going to do is add a card for each potential customer and walk that customer through your sales process. And as you do, you will move that customer's card from column to column to column to column. And as you hire a team, they're going to help you by each one of them owning a different part of this process, a different column. Let's look at each step carefully. This is your starting point. If you don't know how to sell, if you are experienced selling and you need a better way to sell, just copy this. Copy this and adjust it and improve it and make it your own. But here are the steps. I've numbered them using Skitch so that you can understand what I'm pointing at. Step number 1 is possibilities. That's where you're going to list out a list of possible sales. I'm not using all the technical sales lingo intentionally. I want you to think of possibilities, people who can possibly buy from you. Step number 2, I want you to get their contact information. And step number 1, you don't think about contact information. You don't think, can I get this person's contact? Will I be able to reach them? If you think they're a possibility, put them down. If you think Richard Branson's a possibility, put them down. If you find someone online that you don't know, put them down. Don't worry about how you're going to reach them. Step number 1, column number 1 is just finding possibilities. Column number 2 is where you collect their contact info so you can follow up with them. Column number 3, I call it touch. It sounds a little bit, I don't know, it sounds a little something, a little personal. But what I want you to do is get in touch with them somehow without selling to them. Your first point of contact to them should not be, hey, I got this new thing I want to show you. Will you buy it? But just like touch in with them. Step number 4, offer to do a demo. You want to show them you're about to sell something that is going to be very expensive. Ideally, I'd like you to charge a lot of money for it. People are going to want to see it, want to hear your voice. And so I want you to offer a demo. That's step number 4. Step number 5, you remind them to do the demo with you, to schedule the demo with you. Because frankly, in my experience, a lot of people will not follow up with that first email. And so you want to have some space to remind them. And that's step number 5. Step number 6, you're going to do a demo, ideally screen to screen, talk to them on the phone or using a meeting software, but show them the process, collaborate with them on the solution. And step number 7 is follow up. If they don't buy on that call, you're going to want to send them a follow up email saying, hey, I know that you like this demo. You saw that it would be useful and then you list the ways. Are you ready to sign up? Can we get started now? That's the process. If you're in Pipedrive, here's a quick screenshot showing you how to do it. Again, I'm going to fly through this, but feel free to hit pause right now and go do it if you're using Pipedrive. Every system, every CRM is pretty intuitive when it comes to creating this. If they have these steps, it's pretty intuitive. I also told you I want you to have stats. To hold yourself accountable, you need to use them. What I want you to be able to do is see something like this. Something that shows you in this last week, as you can see over on the top left, in this last week, how many people did you add to that first column? How many people did you move to that second column? Your stats are what are going to hold you accountable. So if you feel bad for yourself, nobody loves you, nobody wants to buy from you, nothing's working, I want you to be able to go in here and say, well, how many people did I really reach out to? Did I reach out to one person last week because I was feeling bad for myself and now I'm upset that no one's responding? Or am I making a big effort? I want you to also look at your stats so that you know, where are people not following up? Where are they dropping off? Maybe it's after you offer to do a demo, people just clam up and you need to change your approach there. So stats are going to hold you accountable and allow you to improve. A good starting point for your stats is to commit to sending out 10 new potential or adding 10 new potential people to your system every week. That's a good starting point. If you're someone who in module number 1 had all this energy, you were going to really go for it with this program, and you didn't burn yourself out by wasting time on the nonsense, you saved a lot of steam, a lot of energy for this marathon, this is the place where you're going to want to kick harder. And this is the place where you might want to push yourself to send out 20, 30 new potentials, right? If you go watch a marathon, everybody at mile number 1 is like pushing themselves till they could barely breathe, it feels like. The smart runners keep a lot in their system, in their tank for mile number 20 to 26. We're about to get to mile number 20, the infamous wall. So this is where I want you to push yourself, at least 10 new potentials every single week. But you know what? Why not go for more? And keep moving them often. I don't want to tell you daily to move them because I know that after you touch in with people in column number 3, you might want to just give it a little time. You know, maybe it's, hey, I saw the blog post that you wrote last week and it really influenced me. They respond back to you. Don't say, hey, now it's time for me to sell them. Just give it a little time. So I don't want you to move every single card every single day, but I do want you to make a habit of moving each card each week frequently, meaning you take people who are possibilities and you move their card to collect info only after you add their contact info to their card. All right. Again, we'll keep emphasizing this. This is Tam. Tam, why do you want me to add this slide even after we've said this already?
Just to reiterate, I mean, you have to hustle to go after these new leads. If you want something, you got to put more effort into it. And so we got to work smart and also work hard. And by working hard, that means going after new leads.
And Tam, earlier today, you said that there would be one tattoo that you were thinking of getting. I said, hey, Tam, go out and get one tattoo right now. Where would it be and what would it say?
Yeah, it's very funny you bring it up. I want to have hustle on my right forearm because a lot of my, I believe a lot of my hard work and success has come from just hustling and outworking someone. So someone could be smarter than me, richer than me, more athletic than me, but they can't outwork me. And that's what I think has really helped me succeed in a lot of areas of my life.
Hustle. Even if you stink, if you reach out to enough people, you are going to start to see results here. All right. Now that you have a system, fix your problems within the system. There are going to be problems. There are going to be issues. I didn't give you the ultimate perfect thing that will work for every single person everywhere in the world, ideally, perfectly. You're going to want to customize it to yourself. And you're going to want to catch little errors and fix it. So for example, you send out messages and no one responds. No one responds. Well, you don't beat yourself up. You improve your system. The system improvement for that is to use email tracking software that tells you, are people even opening your message? Maybe they're not even opening your message. Here's some examples of it. I like Tout app because Tout's the founder of Tout app, which recently sold to Marketo, is a longtime Mixergy fan. But Boomerang for Gmail is available. Bonatang. I feel like one of the problems with this space is that it's now getting baked into a lot of software. This email tracking, where when you send out an email, it tells you when someone opens up the email and when they click on it. So maybe what you're finding is that people aren't responding to your email. You use one of these apps to see, are they actually opening up your message or not? And if they're not opening it up, then you know you have to tweak the subject line. If they are opening it up, then you know you have to tweak the copy of the actual email. Maybe instead of using the people who we give you in our template email, you find someone who's more relevant to the people who you're targeting. Okay, so you fix it within the system. Here's an example of one of our students. He showed this at one of the group calls Torben did. And he said, look, this is how I'm customizing your system to my way of doing things. And what you'll see is later on, you'll recognize this email copy, or this is the LinkedIn Messenger. That's what he's using, LinkedIn chat. And you'll recognize later on some of the copy from the email that we're going to suggest that you use as your first template. But he just customized it to LinkedIn. And he's getting responses by using this system within LinkedIn. He customized it to his way of doing things. And he's also got sales process tracking. He happens to be an Excel wizard. Is that the word? He's really good at Excel. So he created a system, and he loves Excel. Actually, this is Google Spreadsheets. I use Excel as a generic word for spreadsheets. He's all over it. What he did was he created a process to keep up with how many people he's sending messages to on LinkedIn, how many times he's getting replies, how many follow-ups, right? By the way, one place that you might want to update your system as you get going with it is, notice how he has 5 follow-ups. I recommend 1 follow-up. Maybe you bump yours up to 2. Maybe you bump it up to 3. But you test and you look at the numbers and you have them tell you what's working and what's not.
I mean, I love Torben's hustle. Look at how many connection requests he sent out. 400. That's amazing. And
yeah, just to be exact, 423 at the time that we took this screenshot. And most people wouldn't even send out 4. He's sending out 400 of these messages out. And he's a person who hasn't even gotten to this module. He just saw that we included a version of this module from the previous time that we taught this. And he just went in and he ripped through that video and he started doing it. Notice to his numbers, he keeps seeing what his conversion rates are. I forget the exact numbers that he's given me, but you can see that there's a clear flow from number of people he sends out invitations to number of people who he ends up on conversations with. And what he's found is that now he's getting so many conversations that he can't actually get on calls with enough people and do demos for them. He might, if he's got too much inflow, he might want to either hire someone to help him with the follow-up and do the sales for him, or maybe he needs to screen people a little bit better. If he's finding that when he gets on calls with them, they're not all slam dunks, maybe there are places for him to screen people better and to find the right people before he sends out requests. But what he has here is a system that tells him, here's what's working, here's what's not. Systemize it. Let's review. All right. First thing we said, most important, foundation of everything that we're going to do here is you have to have a sales system with clear steps and stats. Everything needs to be clearly laid out. Right? Number 2, when something fails, don't blame yourself. Don't think the universe hates you. And don't think that maybe everything's okay and it's all going to work itself out. Fix your system. Fix your system. And number 3, keep going after new leads. Remember the tattoo that Tam would have on his forearm. Keep going after new leads. Hustle, hustle, hustle for new leads. This is the place to apply your energy. All right. Next, identify your target clients. We have found over time that the people who do especially well with bots, the ones who are especially eager for bots, are people who already are email marketers and who already buy Facebook ads. If they're email marketers, they already understand how this process works. And they're always on the hunt for new people to subscribe, always on the hunt for ways to improve their sequence, their flow, their funnel. And if they're buying Facebook ads, they're comfortable with Facebook. They don't treat Facebook like this childish thing that only people who are socializing use. They know the power. So if they're one or the other, they're great. If they're one and the other, then they're really ideal for you. One good example of that is David Siteman Garland, who very quickly became a customer of a bot, or who signed up and got a bot made for him. Not through me. I'm trying to think of like how much do I talk about David Siteman Garland's process of getting a bot. I think the most important takeaway for this section is for me to say he signed up and he's ideal because he is an email marketer going back many years who's proud of the size of his email list, proud of how he messages his email audience, and he buys Facebook ads. And so he knows the platform and he's comfortable with it. So if you're looking for an avatar, I would take a photo of David Siteman Garland and put it somewhere. This is the kind of person that would be a good fit. All right. Start with a theory of who you'd be good for, who your work would be good for. Tam, can you talk a little bit about this? Like, why are we saying a theory and what do you mean by this?
Yeah, so there's different target clients that you could potentially go after. You can go after David Siteman Garland. You can go after personal trainers. You can go after dentists and so on. So start with a theory of who you be good for. Most likely you all have experience working with other clients or coworkers saying, hey, I actually really resonate with people doing Facebook ads, or I really resonate with people making music and I want to work with musicians. Start with the theory of who you would be good for and who would actually want a bot to be your ideal client. And from there, you'll learn how to best communicate with them and sell to them, as we'll go over in this module.
And before I bring up the next slide, I want to say that sometimes this is scary. Like, you have to find your ideal person. It feels like you're getting committed to a person and you're excluding a whole lot of other people. I get it. It's a hard thing to come up with, and it's a hard process to say to yourself, there are a group of people who I'm not going after. One of the reasons why I want you to go after a theory or come up with a theory is so that you don't feel married to it. Just say, hey, you know what? I think I'd actually be really good for this group of people, and then try. I think I'd really be good for people who are teaching courses. I think I'd really be good for people who are selling on Shopify. Think of who it might be and don't feel committed to it. All right. Then, Tam, you want us to do what? I'll let you take the next few slides here.
You want to turn your bots into templates for similar businesses. So very similar to how, if you go to the next slide, like websites are doing, like this one is, for example, it's all about dentists and their niche is dentists. The next slide.
Yeah, this is from Theme Forest. You get a bunch of themes for WordPress, and there are a bunch of themes on Theme Forest just customized here. In fact, 299, I shouldn't say a bunch when I have the exact number, 299 themes on Theme Forest for websites for dentists, right? So people in the web space know you start by creating these kinds of templates. And what's this from? Oh, I see it.
This one's from Squarespace.
Yeah.
And this one right here is just for photographers who want to show off their portfolio. So they get very specific on who this service can be used for, and they show you real examples of real like client or real customers using their service for photographers.
Yeah, and when I look at this, frankly, this turns me off because I don't want nothing but photos. I'm more of a text person, but that's fine. They're not speaking to me. They're speaking towards photographers, and photographers love the idea of having these big, beautiful photos like you see on the bottom right, or a bunch of thumbnails like you can see on the bottom left, where they can actually show off their work. Now, we got, as I said earlier, a group of our best students together here in San Francisco to talk about their experiences and to learn from them. And one of the things that we learned was that people who had consistent groups of people, like there's one graduate who said, you know what, I'm going after people who do webinars. And I said, how does that influence your business and what you do with them? And what I learned was by going after webinar hosts, I'll say she could create a templatized follow-up sequence. When she works with someone who does webinars, she can immediately know, I have to create that the message that says you're in the webinar and I'll remind you. A message that comes in the day before the actual webinar that says, remember tomorrow the webinar is starting, and a message that comes in a minute before the webinar starts that says, we're starting now. Click here to start watching this webinar. Click here to participate, right? So that makes not just targeting better, it also allows for better delivery, for better creation. So you're not spending enormous amounts of time with every new client creating the same thing over and over from scratch.
And also for the client side, they're happy because you worked with like 10 other clients who are doing webinars. So you have so much experience in that end. And when you work with them, they say, okay, so this person knows what they're doing. I'll trust that they're going to set up a system for a funnel or whatever they're setting up for yourself regarding chatbots. And it's going to actually have results.
Yeah. But that background looks really nice, huh?
Yes, it does.
Do you like working in this space where we were?
Oh,
or is it
yes.
just me who's fallen in love with that space?
Oh, it's awesome space.
Good. All right. Next, look for lead fountains. Let me tell you where this came from. I have been doing Mixergy now since 2008. A long, long time of doing interviews. As you can see from your screen, I've got exactly at the time of this publishing of this module, 1,464 interviews, not just published, but researched, edited, put up online. And one of the hardest things that I found about this process was finding guests. I was always on the hunt at the last minute to find somebody to interview, and that caused me to compromise some of my standards. And so, or to risk compromising them, or to take up a lot of my time. And so my mentor said to me, Andrew, how are you finding new interviewees? And I told him, well, I have this idea for someone. And then I start going after him. And he said, there's your problem. I said, Bob, why is that a problem? He said, don't have ideas, have idea fountains. I said, what's an idea fountain, Bob? And Bob says, well, an idea is a one-off thing. An idea fountain is something that just spouts off ideas. I said, wow, Bob, tell me more. And so Bob Heiler showed me this. I'll describe to you what you're looking at here because it just looks, and it is, just a Google search. But he said, Andrew, I'm noticing the people who have their companies acquired are really good guests. I said, yeah, but not like a month after they're acquired, not even a year after, because there's a period there where the acquiring company forces them to be quiet. He said, how long after? I said, maybe 2 years. He said, okay, great. He said, and they're all reported in TechCrunch? I said, yeah. So he whipped up this search. He said, site:/TechCrunch.com space acquired. So we're searching TechCrunch.com for the word acquired. And if you look a little bit underneath the all word and above the first entry there, you'll see we've limited it to 2 years ago. So no one who's acquired in the last 2 days, but people who are acquired 2 years ago or further. And that now was an idea fountain. That allowed me to find lots of guests that I can ask to come do interviews on my site. But it also allowed me to bring in other people and ask them to help me find good candidates. So you want to think about not just leads, not individuals, but lead fountains. And so here's how that might play out here. Maybe one of your things is to search for top online marketers in Google, and that's one of your lead fountains. And now you can experiment with this and start putting in the top 50 people that you see in this list here. Heidi Cohen, Neil Patel, Ann Hadley. These would be great people who would buy bots, right? So you put all 100 of them, or all 50 of them, into your software, into Pipedrive. And then you start going after them. And if you've got a good CRM, like with Pipedrive, if a virtual assistant a year from now helps you out and starts adding to your process, they will know, no, Neil Patel's already been added to the system. I don't have to add Neil Patel, but maybe I look and see if we should ping him again if he didn't buy in the past. All right, so you keep it organized. That's an idea fountain, doing a Google search for something as simple as top online marketers. Here's another idea fountain. Look for the word unsubscribe in your email inbox. The word unsubscribe is really helpful because it appears on the bottom of email newsletters. And so here's one. John Lee Dumas. We're building a bot for him. he has the word unsubscribe because this is his email newsletter that I'm subscribed to. Look for that, especially if you've been subscribing to them for a long time. You get to go back and look at their content, and you get to see where their head is, and you get to follow up with them and say, when you're ready to sell, I've been a long time subscriber of yours. I know how well you do this. Okay. Next step. Start by asking people you know. Now, Tam, a lot of people will say, I don't know anyone. Let's talk about how they do and they don't. And I explicitly know this from experience. Want to talk about this next part of the process?
Yeah, definitely. So there's your whole network that you've had growing up in school, working at multiple jobs and so on in your career. And so some people might think, oh, I don't know anyone who would want this. Actually, if you look hard enough, you'll be surprised at how many people you actually find who fits your ideal client. So one step would be to go into Gmail and look at your contacts list. It could be as simple as that, and just going through each person that you emailed. Next, you can look at your LinkedIn connections or your Facebook. This is my Facebook right here.
Jump the slide. Yeah, there's
okay,
LinkedIn.
Good.
So you're doing a search here on LinkedIn for what?
You can do a search on LinkedIn for social media strategists or for online marketers, or anything. And you'll quickly find out that many people who you've met or worked with in the past, or might know someone who's worked with someone in marketing, is on LinkedIn. And very similar to how Torben sent them an email, you can do the exact same thing when you connect with them and message them on LinkedIn afterwards.
Yeah, you did a search here for social media strategists. You have 14 people who are direct connections of yours who are social media strategists. You can send them an email, and it doesn't count against your allotment of emails. Or you'll have their email address because you're directly connected, and you can send them an email message also. Sorry, and now you're going on to Facebook.
Oh, yes. And this is my personal Facebook. I searched up on the very top, you can see my friends who like marketing. And now I see all these folks who are into marketing or who dabble in business or entrepreneurship. And I can message them saying, hey, I've been friends with this guy since May or since April of 2016, May of 2015. And I can ask them about chatbots and where they're up to in their business and so on, which we'll show you later on down this module.
This is mine. I did a search for this group since Tam was a subscriber of it. I found it, and it's called Badass Marketers and Founders. So this is a nice fit, right? People who are both founders and marketers, good fit. If you look before you hit join group, right underneath it, you can see there are 48 friends of mine who are members of this group. If I tap the ellipsis on the right, which is right on someone's face right there, if you see the ellipsis right there, when you tap it, you can see a list of all my friends who are in the group. That's what you're looking for. So look through your connections on all these different platforms. Don't think that you don't have friends who do this. Sometimes people you haven't talked to in a while or don't tell you about their work end up being really good fits for this. Tam, you wrote this, and I think it's important for us to say. Why don't you explain why we have this in here?
Yeah, definitely. So some people might think, oh, I don't want to like sell to my friends, or I don't want to like intrude on someone who I haven't talked to in a long time. I think that's the wrong way to frame this. You have a superpower. You can build a chatbot. You are on the top of the future of marketing, helping clients with this new technology, and this is your superpower. And if you don't share the superpower with your friends, you're actually hurting them and their business, or the business that they're in. So when you think about this, you have a superpower and you want to help your friends. You want to tell them like, hey, I have this chatbot skill. I can create one for your company so that you can get a great ROI on your leads or your webinars or your products and services and so on. And I can use you as a testimonial, as a case study, and it's a win-win situation. So when you think about messaging people on LinkedIn cold or with your friends, think about it as having a superpower and that you want to help your friends. You're not tearing them down or asking for them of anything. You are helping them.
Good point. Let's review. The ideal client is already doing online marketing. Number 2, start with a theory, a guess, a belief of who your target is, and then just keep refining it. Number 3, sell to people you know before you sell to anyone else. Sell to them first. Number 4, look for lead fountains. And number 5, turn your work into templates. Start thinking about how everything that you're doing could actually be more systemized, more repeatable. All right, so if we're going through the process that we described up at the top, the one in Pipedrive, then our next step is to search for their contact information. Now we have a spreadsheet, just a standard Google Doc, Google spreadsheet that will allow you to find people's email addresses. And you can see it shows that it works with my email address. It'll work with others too. This is a simple way for you for free to find people's email addresses if you want to contact them. We also have found several collections on Product Hunt of tools that will allow you to find email addresses. So if our spreadsheet doesn't feel right to you, or if it doesn't find enough people in your industry, there are lots of tools that will allow you to find people's email addresses. And don't forget, you're selling Facebook Messenger bots. People who respond to Facebook Messenger messages are really good potential customers. Or as you can, that's on the left, on the right side of your screen is LinkedIn's chat. People who use LinkedIn chat are good customers too. I never would have thought that, frankly. I used to be so against LinkedIn chat. The only person that I ever messaged intentionally using LinkedIn chat is Reid Hoffman, because someone told me, hey, Andrew, you want to get to know him? I said, yes. He said, use LinkedIn Mail. I said, all right, I'll use LinkedIn Mail just for that one person. But otherwise, I've never used it before, never used it since, never used it before. But I'm an outlier. Just because I don't do it doesn't mean that there are other people who ignore it like I do. Just because I'm not using it doesn't mean that no one else does. It is being used. Don't hesitate to use it. Don't make the mistake that I would have made. Learn from Torben and other people's experiences. Next, touch in without selling. I know that phrase sounds really weird, touch in, but I want you to just kind of tap them. So you could touch in without selling, and that asterisk there is a reference to use email or Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn or whatever you like. I don't care. But I want to show you a template in one platform, and you could take it to any other platform. Here's how you might touch in with someone. I actually literally sent this about, I don't know, a little before we started recording this module. It's to Michael Hyatt. I really like the guy's work, so I sent him a note. I said, wow, that was 9 years ago. I just read a post on your site that helped me with my email issue, and I linked to the post. When I scrolled to the bottom, I noticed you wrote it about a decade ago. Thanks for reminding me the importance of producing content that lasts. Short message, just kind of tagging in, saying, hey, Michael, I saw you. We don't want the first interaction we have with people to be, hey, can I sell you something? It feels a little bit weird, especially if you're reaching out to friends who you found using the process that Tam described earlier. So we tag in, tap them, touch in. And you could do email. You could do a simple tweet if you notice that someone's responding to tweets. You could do one on Facebook, whatever it is. Just send a little tap to let them know that you're aware of them. By the way, I sent that out. Look at this. What is it? 70 minutes later, he replied back. Imagine if I would have sent him a note that said, hey, Michael, can I show you this demo? It would have taken him more than 70 minutes. Would have thought, well, do I have time? How do I do it? Right? This is a quick way to just say, hey, hi, thinking of you, saw your stuff, I like your stuff. So when I come back and if I wanted to sell to Michael, this is the way I would have established my relationship with him and reminded him of who I was, or just let him know that I care about him before I care about his money.
Mm-hmm. And best of all, Andrew, when you reach out and touch in with a lot of these folks, they're going to ask you like, oh man, thank you so much for that. What are you up to right now? How can I help you? Mm-hmm. If they're like your great friends, they want to support you and appreciate you, and they want to help you in your business, and they're going to say like, hey, how's it going with your life? What's up? And that's the perfect boom. You're going to tell them about chatbots, and you're going to tell them about the cool thing that you're learning, and they're going to be much more interested than if you were to just sell them on the first message.
Yeah. You know what? Stu McLaren, who's a mutual friend of mine and Michael Hyatt's, often checks in and says, hey, what are you up to that's interesting? And there are times when people email us like that. We don't have anything especially urgent to talk to them about. This is a good way to tap them and kind of encourage that question. All right. And of course, once you tag in with them, you get to move in. You get to move their card over one in your column. If you're in Pipedrive, now you have an opportunity to move their card one over. You found their contact, you move their card over. You found, you tagged them, you touched in, you get to move their card over. All right. Next, offer to do the demo. Now is a time for you to come back in. It doesn't have to be immediate. You're not just hitting reply on their message to you. You could give it a little time, maybe a couple of days, and then you can offer to do the demo. Here's the message that we've used as a template. You can see I just took a screenshot of this at like 9 o'clock at night or so. And I still saw 2 people in the template because they're still using this as their copy. The template is because you insert phrase. The reason I want you to start with that is I want you to be forced, especially when you're doing this yourself manually, to think about every single person who you're reaching out to and why they would care about this. Not, I have something new for you, but just stop and take a moment and say to yourself, why would this person care? Why would this make an impact in their life? How would this help them? Just stop and think about it, just so you're forced to do this. If you do it 10 times a week, you'll be forced 10 times a week to think in 10 different ways how this new skill that you have, this new superpower could help people. All right, let's get into the body. I noticed you, and then say something about them too. So what did you notice that's helpful? I noticed you are really good at email marketing. I noticed you are always on top of new technology. I noticed you're always the person who buys the latest Apple stuff and therefore cares about the cutting edge or are not afraid of new things. Whatever it is, you put that in there. Next, can I show you how marketers are using Facebook Messenger bot to get more sales than with email? I'm seeing over 80% open rates and 50 to 60% click rates. Marketing powerhouses like Digital Marketer and Frank Kern are on this already, but so are big brands like 800 Flowers and Sephora. Since, I give them a reason why, since whatever this reason is, since you're always on the cutting edge, since you're always looking for new ways, since you have this new product to sell, since whatever it is, I can show you how bots work for free in 15 minutes. Pick any time from my calendar. And I like sending a link to a calendar because I don't want you to go back and forth with them about, are you free next Monday? How about next Tuesday? If you use a calendar software like Acuity Scheduling or Calendly or there's so many others out there, Schedule Once, whatever it is, if you use it, I happen to use Acuity because I like the features of it. And I've known the founder for a long time. I don't care what you use. If you don't like mine, I'm not hurt. But I do want you to have some calendar. Make it easy for people to see your availability and automatically book. Here's an example of how that might work. Because you sell an email funnel course as a subject, I know you have a popular course on, and the body goes on to say, I know you have a popular course on funnel creation and thought this could help. Can I show you how marketers, and I'll let you guys read this for yourself. This is all in the doc that we're going to be giving you. I think some people have been editing that doc. I'll turn off editing so that so you see the actual version of it that we put together for you. All right. But as we saw from Torben, as we've experienced here at Bot Academy, people have adjusted this to their voice. My hope is that you keep it simple. Let me actually just make sure that I not pass over this without explaining what's going on here. We have a personal subject line, a personal first sentence in the body, because most people see the subject line and the body in their phone's email app. And then an offer, very clearly stated, no long rambling stuff, clear benefit, that's what the percentage is there for, and social proof, Digital Marketer, Frank Kern, 800 Flowers, and Sephora. So if they don't know marketers like Digital Marketer, then they at least will appreciate brands like 800 Flowers and Sephora that they're doing this. Okay. Now, you've got the demo. You sent out an offer. Someone scheduled a demo with you. Let's talk about what happens in the demo. The first thing, I love this, that we say, do the demo. First thing you do on the demo call is not the demo. Don't demo it right away. Don't show it to them is what we have found. As much as they're going to love seeing the demo, and I'll show you what it looks like, don't show it. Here's why. This is Mike Camo. We talked to him when we wanted to get one of his companies as a client. And we got on and we showed him how a bot worked, and we did the demo, and he was like blown away by the thing I'm about to show you. And by now it's not going to surprise you, but it was new to him. And I still said, something's not quite right with him. Why is he not excited? And I said, why are you not excited? I just showed you new ways. You're all about getting new subscribers. You're one of the best people in the world at getting new subscribers. And you know how to turn them into customers. Why aren't you excited? And he said, actually, Andrew, I'm really good at getting email subscribers. I don't have a problem there. I said, oh. I said, so why are you doing this call with me? He said, well, I do have a problem that a lot of people are subscribing, but I sell a service that costs thousands of dollars. Most people should not buy my service and can't afford it. And now you're about to send me even more people who possibly couldn't afford my stuff. What I need and what I was hoping you would show me is, how can I qualify people? How can I figure out who needs my service and who has got the money to pay for it so that I can get one of my salespeople on a call with them or on a chat conversation with them. I have a team of salespeople. I pay them full time. They can have these conversations. I was hoping the bot would help me qualify people. I said, oh, right. I said, well, I think we can do that. And here's how we can do it. And I told him how we can do it. And I told him what you now know because you watched the module on copywriting. And hopefully you've seen the video on how to set up a qualification sequence. And he said, yes, that's great. Now he was interested and ready to go. So don't start with the demo. Start instead with this set of questions that we're going to ask you. And start with this understanding. You're not just a bot consultant. You're not just there to sell the bot. You're not just there to kind of represent the software. You're not a rep for the software that you're using, ManyChat, Chatfuel, Flow, whatever it is. You're not a rep for that software. You're not selling the software. You're not just a bot person. You are there to help them grow their business. They will eventually learn any software you put in front of them. What you need to do is know how to use that software right, copywriting, tagging, conversions, all that stuff to give them the result that they're looking for. So the question you ask before you do the demo is, and there are two questions. Number one, what's your biggest marketing goal? I initially had it as what's your biggest goal, but Tam added the word marketing. He's right. I forget that if you're not targeting people properly, if you're not setting them in the right direction, they could say my biggest goal is actually to sell this company in 5 years. And now you're up in a whole other conversation. What's your biggest marketing goal? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then number two, now they've told you what they're trying to do. Number two, what's keeping you from getting there? What are the obstacles? Now they've told you the thing they want most in the world and the thing that's keeping them from getting it. Now, when you do the demo, you have something to aim for. And let me show you how you should do the demo. There are lots of tools for doing this, but what I want you to do is show them how it works both ways, on the web and on the phone. Here's a video that I created that shows what I show when I demo it. Notice on the left, we've got the landing page that we create just for them because they're demoing with us. We take a few minutes to create a landing page. There it is. We show them how they press the button, and on the right side of their screen, as you can see in a second, or another second, there it is. The alert comes up, and then when they tap it, they get to see the message. Hi, I'm Michael Hyatt's chatbot. Can I use this chat? You know all this stuff, right? They press the yes button. You give them the PDF, and you say, great, I'm going to tell you more about this later in the week, and here's a PDF. Now, I happen to be using just my iPhone with QuickTime to show my screen, to show my phone. It's just a QuickTime screen on the right side. Just like on QuickTime, you could record video of yourself. You can also say, hey, instead of using the webcam that's built into my computer, use the phone that's connected to my computer as a webcam. We can talk more about this in the group. There are lots of different tools if you're not using iPhone, if you're not using a Mac, if you hate QuickTime or if you hate whatever. There are lots of different tools for doing this. What I'd like you to do, though, is do the demo in real time if possible, but have a video as a backup just in case. Who knows what can screw up, right? Have a video just in case ready to go so you can show this stuff. I also would suggest that some people are not crazy about Facebook Messenger, the app, or they don't fully get it. So what I've done here is shown this in a different way too. Left is a landing page that I created. Right is my Facebook page. Now, watch what happens when I press the button. Look in the upper right. There in the chat. You see that? It goes from dark to bright. Now, when I tap it, you can see my messages, and you can see this little window come up. Now, this is something that someone who's not into Facebook Messenger as an app, they could still relate to this. So you're showing it to them how it would work on the desktop. Since this is a video, I can actually just go over to this one section here I want you to see. It shows no unread messages in the upper right here. I'm going to highlight it right there in the upper right. And then as soon as they press the button, actually it's like a few seconds afterwards, it turns white. And that's the alert that people are familiar with. Again, if you're doing it this way, all you need are 2 browser windows. Still, don't just count on everything working the day of the demo. Do a video so that you have it as a backup. This is just a quick video that anyone can put together.
Yes, and also, Andrew, even if they don't use Messenger specifically, very similar to how you don't use LinkedIn specifically, their customers are going to be using Messenger. 1.2 billion people are using Messenger every single month. So even if they don't understand, or even if they don't use Messenger personally themselves every single day, they know as a marketer, as a founder, that their customers do, and they need to reach their customers where they are.
Yeah, and that's really important to hammer home. So let me tell you how we did this, how we put this together. The landing page was just using ClickFunnels. I'm not married to ClickFunnels. I'm not connected to them. I don't care. You know how to do this using lots of platforms because you've seen our module on growth. I happen to use ClickFunnels because I know we have a lot of ClickFunnels certified people here in the program. So I thought I'd use something familiar to them. All we did was edit a page using the same process that you saw before. If this page looks familiar to you, it's because it's that template. It comes with ClickFunnels, right? We don't have to get too cute here when we're just trying to talk to a potential customer. Look at that. Left is the one that I created for Michael Hyatt. The right is the Lorem Ipsum version that comes with ClickFunnels. If you use lead pages, use the lead pages thing. I don't care what you use standard WordPress. What's important is that once you create it once, it's so easy to copy. On all these platforms, you could just click clone funnel and you get it again. So if I were to create one of these for Michael Hyatt, and then the next day I wanted to go after Noah Kagan or Brian Harris or anyone else who's similar to him, all I have to do is just clone it using this and change the image and a little bit of the text. I'm not starting from scratch, and I change the button so that it fits with what they're offering. Just that little clone button. All these different landing page options have that. A lot of you have said, well, do I have to get a new ManyChat account for every time I do a demo? No. Use your standard one. It's fine. I like it actually when, if you look at the video, let me bring up this video again. I like for the client to see, let me bring up the other video. Is it here? So we get a little focus on it. I like for the client to see in the top right on my Messenger account that this was sent from Mixergy Bot. I like that. I want them to remember this is the company that created it for you. I don't have to have it be Michael Hyatt Demo Bot that's sending this out. I'm connecting them back to my business, to my brand. Hey, by the way, Tam, little known fact. Can you see on your screen the time on my iPhone, 9:41 a.m.?
Yes.
Do you know why that is?
Why is that?
Oh, good. I finally get to teach you something about this. 9:41 is when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone to the world. And every time you connect your phone to your computer to show your screen, it automatically does a few things. First, it sets the time to 9:41 a.m. I didn't take that at 9:41 a.m. It automatically shows on the screen as 9:41 a.m. It gets rid of my carrier. I happen to be with AT&T, and it looks like it has all the bars, which I never have all the bars with AT&T. And on the right side, it shows the battery at 100%. So basically what they've done is they've made your phone look a little more presentable in those little touches, and they've connected back to Steve Jobs.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Now that little factoid is out there into the world, making the world a better place. Again, all we did to create this demo is come into the growth tool, which you know by now because we've covered it. And we've created a growth tool for Michael Hyatt. Just a simple button. There it is. Get the ebook that we put on the landing page that I showed you a moment ago. And the message is right there. How did I get the message? How did I know what I was going to create for him? Easy peasy. He has on his homepage a landing page that offers this book, and this is the email that I got within seconds. I just went to his homepage. I said, I like Michael Hyatt. What is he offering? If I needed to use him as a demo, what would I use? Great. Just click his button, get his email. There you can see it came into me. And that's all I did. The other cool thing is we talked about how to clone the landing page so that you can make these things very fast. You can also clone the content. if you're a ManyChat user, and I know this works with other platforms, but if you're a ManyChat user, you just go into the content tab, which is right there, that leftmost arrow, and you can see the content I created for Michael Hyatt is automatically stored in there, so I can use it again. All I do is when I need to create another growth tool, I pick the Michael Hyatt content, and then I click clone, so it makes a copy of it, and that way I could change his photo out for, who did I say before, Noah Kagan, so I put Noah Kagan's face in there. And I change the text. It's no longer I'm Michael Hyatt's chatbot. It might be I'm Noah Kagan's chatbot. So now I'm not starting from scratch every single time. So that's how I did it, right? That's the demo. You finally get to the demo. That's how you do it. That's how we've created it really fast, so we're not wasting time on it. And we're able to customize it to the person. Once you do the demo, you don't sell. I think you want to collaborate on implementation. No bot that you create for someone else is going to be spot on right away. And frankly, because it's his face, he might not like this photo that I found of him on his site. He might not even like this book or the way that I copied his text into his message here. I'm okay with that. I want to tell them, you know what, this was a quick demo that I wanted to give you to have you just think about how you can use this. You told me your big challenge was, maybe his big challenge was selling books. So I might say, you told me, Michael, your big challenge was selling more books, and you've been using email, but it's not working as well as it did before. How could you use this thing that I just showed you a moment ago? How could you use this thing here that I demoed for you? How could you use it to solve that problem and help you sell more books? And then you could start to brainstorm with them. Well, I think one way to do it is this. Now you've got them thinking about how they could work with you. You've got them. They see you put in the effort. They're willing to put in a little more effort themselves, and they're willing to start to think about how they can use it. And their ideas are always going to be more appealing to them than yours. A note about software. I've done demos before for early members of Bot Academy, and I showed them the software I used, and then they started showing it to their potential customers. Don't show it. Don't bother saying, here, I use ManyChat, let me show you. Don't hide it either. There's no sense in pretending that this doesn't exist, because they're going to find out if they're curious about it. You're not going to get an advantage by just being able to use the software. The reason I'd say don't show it is because it becomes a distraction. Now, before they sign up to you, they have to understand the software they're using, and they have to go and investigate it on their own. Now you've sent them down a rabbit hole. It's a big, big, big distraction. They might come back. They'll likely come back to you anyway, but now they have this whole other homework assignment to do. They have to figure out the software. How many of you saw in our Facebook group that someone recommended some software and you said, oh, I should try it. It's easy, but you never did? Just too much. Don't put that burden on them and on your relationship with them, but also don't hide it. Don't be someone who says, I can't tell you until you sign up. Don't act like this thing is the magic thing that you have to keep from them, because it's going to make you look petty, and it's not going to make you look like a good partner. And they could find out anyway. All they have to do is go to their Facebook page, start looking at the chat messages, and it'll say what software you're using. Facebook does not hide that. All right. You also have something else to do, and that is sell them on the future of chatbots. What is this thing? Whenever you sell something brand new, it's your responsibility also to explain it, to sell the thing, not just what you built on top of it. And so get familiar with some of these stats. You already know it. You don't need a mess of stats, but you do need some. Like, here's one. How many people are using Facebook Messenger? We hired a writer at Bot Academy who used like Facebook Messenger chart showing that there were 1 billion monthly active users on Facebook Messenger. I said, she's probably not the right person for us. She didn't realize that this had grown. And we've gone through several writers who did that same mistake. So you need to know it. You need to know the basics. It helps people understand, I may not use Facebook Messenger, but look, there are 1.2 billion people there. I think I need to take some time and pay attention to it. Here's another stat. Show them. Here's how social networking apps compare to Messenger apps. People are spending more time in Facebook Messenger and other messaging apps than they are in social media. So get familiar with this. Show them how the trend is up and that this is a part of the world. Take them outside of your example. I used to be in Toastmasters, and one of the best lessons I learned from them was tell a story that's unique to one person because people can't visualize big stats. They can only visualize one person and relate to one story. So tell that story first and then zoom out and give people data that shows that this is not just one random anecdote, but this actually is a big thing that connects to a big movement. And so that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. And I would ask them, even with your example, Andrew, to ask them, how do they communicate with their friends, their loved ones, their coworkers, and see if they're actually using messaging apps. And if they are, then woo. That is actually a more shocking realization than these big numbers, because some people can't process these big numbers, and they learn better through story. So yes.
Let's review everything we've covered. We've been covering a lot here. Start not with the demo, but by asking them about their goals and obstacles. Then do the actual demo. Then collaborate with them on how bots can overcome their obstacles. Have them help you come up with ways. Have them see themselves in this. Man, I once interviewed a guy who used to sell RVs. I said, what did you do to get people to buy RVs? I always wanted to learn from car salesmen, and this is like even harder than car sales. And he said, I would have the two of us tell a story of how they were going to use this RV to go on that vacation they always wanted, to get away from it all, and to finally whatever it is that they told me they wanted to do. I said, wow, now you're both coming up with a dream, with a vision. That's helpful, right? Nobody needs an RV, but people do want to finally get away from the family for a month and just go out on the road, right? Nobody needs an RV, another thing to own in their lives. People do really want to see themselves out in the wild, looking at the view of the ocean, getting away from the responsibilities of everyday life. So do that, collaborate with them, have them show you how they could do it. All right, next, let's talk about what you're going to be selling. You will be selling bot setup, and you're going to be selling maintenance. Specifically, charge for two things. For the setup, individually, and for the ongoing maintenance, individually. Two different fees. First, here's what goes into the setup. This was such a debate today. Full sequence, welcome message. You know the welcome message, that's the first thing people see when they sign up. Messenger greeting, that's the thing that they see on that blank page if they happen to find your client's chat bot by just searching on Messenger or by clicking from their Facebook page. You know all this stuff. Create the menu for them. And any single individual growth tool, not every single one of them. You just pick one of the growth tools. That's what you're going to do. That's what you set up. The fee is $1,000. I kind of slid into that very slowly, very cautiously, because I know that this is undervaluing your work. And I know that for many of your customers, you should be charging them much more than this. I actually was debating this with Tam for so long. We were trying to think of what's the right price. We know that if you're coming through this program, you want to have a price to start. And so this is the one that we recommend. But we also want you to know that you're going to be increasing your fee. This is just a beginning. All right, maintenance. Ongoing maintenance on a monthly basis. You're going to be improving their numbers. No funnel is going to be good at first. When I asked actually one of our members, this was Mary Catherine Johnson, she was here. I said, hey, Mary, do you agree that we should be saying that the setup includes full sequence, not just 3 messages? She said, yes, I do it. I said, Mary, you're very cautious about where you spend your time. You're creating a full sequence for a client for like $1,000. You'd be willing to do it? She said, you know what? If I took on the client for $1,000, I'd be willing to do the full sequence. I said, why? She said, Andrew, because I want to show them results. I don't want to do just one message in the sequence and tell them pay more and then you'll get the real results of sales. I want to show them results. I said, okay, all right. You and Tam have convinced me full sequence makes sense. And the full sequence could be 5 messages, could be 6 messages. Doesn't have to be 100 infinite messages. But she also helped me understand that the first sequence you make is always going to need improvement. Right? You create that first sequence, it's never going to be the perfect one that gets sales. And so that's where the maintenance comes in. You're going to be improving their numbers. Which of the 6 sequence messages that you created, for example, actually are getting open and which ones are not? You need to tweak that. Which ones are being read for the first 1 or 2 clicks, but then they're ignored afterwards? You need to know the numbers. You need to improve it. You're going to improve the numbers for subscribers. You're going to improve the numbers for all around activity. Then you're going to be expanding the funnel. Ideally, I remember talking to a marketer who works with Mindvalley, one of the best online marketers out there. Mindvalley, if you guys know them, Google them if you don't. They're so good. I asked one of the people who had equity stakes in a Mindvalley company. I said, well, how big should the funnel be? How big do you guys make your funnel for your clients and for your partners? And he said, ideally an infinite funnel. You just want it to keep on going. You want it to be organized that way, right? Television is an infinite sequence of shows. It doesn't just end next month or next year. You want the same thing here. You want to fix what breaks. Stuff is going to break. People are going to break it. Facebook's going to break it. Something's going to happen. There are going to be issues. You're there to be there and help them. You want to keep it all up to date. Man, Facebook just keeps adding new stuff all the time, right? You are there to be on top of it, to geek out on it, and to keep updating by adding the new features that Facebook or ManyChat or whoever you happen to be using. Testing new features like, well, what happens if we collect payment inside of Facebook Messenger? What happens if we collect payment outside of Facebook Messenger using our own homegrown tool? What happens if you're going to be testing it? You're going to be sending out broadcast messages. I mentioned David Siteman Garland. When he did a webinar with me, he needed a broadcast sent out. Hey, I'm about to do a webinar next week with Andrew Warner. Do you want to come? That can't be part of a sequence. That needs to go out. David cannot sit and write every broadcast message, right? So your people are going to need broadcast messages sent out. You're going to want to create extra landing pages, extra growth tools in general. You need to do that. The first landing page is never the last one. Go back over the years. Use archive.org to look at Michael Hyatt's landing pages over the years. I bet you'll learn a lot. You're going to want to build content upgrades. That's where someone has content on their page, but if they want the next level, more content, they have to press a button. And when they do, they get the rest of the content via Facebook Messenger. Think about like an article about how to use Evernote to be more organized. Well, maybe the content upgrade is see a video of how I use my Evernote, right? And the way that they get it is in Facebook Messenger and they subscribe. So content upgrade. And finally, setting up Facebook ads, right? There's some things. We were just talking to the founder of ManyChat and the customer facing person at ManyChat. Founders Mike Yang and Dan G. Why am I blanking on his last name?
Gamito.
Sorry?
I think it's Gamito.
Gamito. Well, Dan said that he fought like crazy inside of ManyChat to have JSON ads added to ManyChat, just built in. And he said he fought for it because he found that the most sophisticated clients were going to benefit from it. And if they built it themselves, they were benefiting. So why not make it available to more people? Stuff like that is on you. Even if your client has a Facebook ad person, they're not going to know how to connect this in with Facebook ads. So you want to be that person who does it right. Again, I need to give you a price. Here's what we found. $250 maintenance fee monthly, every month, because you're going to keep doing this every month, is a fair price. I would also include the price of the software you're using in there. But keep increasing setup and maintenance fees with your experience. As your experience grows, as your testimonials grow, as your case studies grow. There is no perfect price. I know in many cases you're going to want to charge much more than this, but we do want to give you a price that is a good starting point. All right. And by the way, I should say that one of the people who I've known for years in online marketing and in search engine optimization and frankly every form of online marketing is Neil Patel. He gets paid a lot of money by companies to advise them on their online marketing. And frankly, his team of developers or his team of marketers get paid a lot of money by clients. I remember that when he started out, he went to TechCrunch and said, I'll do your SEO for free. You guys have money, you have traffic. I don't even need you to do anything. Just don't pay me. I'll do it for free. And that helped him build his reputation. So we're starting out, we're building our reputation, we're building our testimonials. Okay, let's talk about the whales. This is a module that we didn't, or a section of the module we didn't have before, because it's based on what some of our best students have done. There's another photo of students who were here in San Francisco. We were talking to them about what worked for them. What many of them said is that, Tim, do you think people know what a whale is? How would you describe what a whale is?
A whale is someone who has, okay, to put it bluntly, who has a deep checkbook, to put it very bluntly, and has authority to refer you to other whales. And we'll give examples later on, as you see in the slides here. But this is where the more advanced section comes in, where you want to pitch to these whales, and we'll show you exactly what our best students have done.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the owner of a casino, you might call the person who comes in and drops $1 million over a weekend the whale. That is one of your whales. I remember when I worked on Wall Street in college, the people who were the most likely to invest a lot of money, most likely to spend a lot with new brokers, were the whales. So the whales are the people who are definitely worth working with, because they, as Tam said, have a lot of money, have a lot of big reputation. So here's what we learned by talking to our students. They actually create demos, full-on demos for those people. They don't wait for the call. They actually create a demo with a landing page or some kind of growth tool example with, as you can see on the right side of the screen, the bot working. They create it. In some cases, they do it really detailed. They create it. And then what they do is they send an email that links to a video walkthrough. And in some cases, they even say, this bot is ready for you. All you have to do is say, go, and I'll give you this bot that I built for you. But here's an email that we've written as a template for you based on the experiences that we've learned and that we've seen some of our students have. I'm going to read it to you guys. Michael, we're assuming I send this to Michael. I built this custom for you. I'm letting him know this is not just an email, not random. I actually put in some work to make it personally for you. So the subject line gets that intrigue and gets that point across. I spent some time building you your own chatbot. You have one of the most personable online presences, or maybe the most personable online presence I know. Wow, that actually reads so much better in my head than it does when I say it out loud. It's kind of weird to say most personable online presence. But it makes sense. I think, and what's important here is I wouldn't send that to every single person. I would customize it to him. I would let him know why I made this just for him. I think this will help your readers connect with you more, and it can help you sell more books. Here's a link to the video walkthrough of the bot I built you. Would you be interested in a fully functioning version? So now he can click and he can see the video as I showed it to you earlier. Remember that little video landing page thing? Here, let me show you. This is what they would do. They would actually send this in some cases, sometimes just a link to the bot that they could experiment with themselves, or a link to the landing page. Sometimes a video like this with the landing page on the left and them narrating what's happening. Imagine, Michael, someone comes to one of your landing pages, and we'll make it look really nice for you. And when the person presses the button to get the ebook, immediately their phone will vibrate, as you can see. Maybe not so immediately because it takes a few seconds, but look at the right of your screen there at the top. Right there it is, the message. And when they tap on that message, they get the message from you, Michael, offering them this guide right here. They tap yes. And when they do, they get the guide in the PDF version, and they could actually open it up in Facebook Messenger. This is what I built for you. Can I customize it for you and your team? Right? So this is what they would send that video. And what they do is I created that video using ScreenFlow by Telescreen. You could see it in the upper left of your screen. But Nick Julia in our program, who's done this before, uses Loom, and man, I love his Loom videos. They're clear, they're easy to use. He doesn't have to upload it anywhere, so I have to tell you about Loom. ScreenFlow is Mac-based. Loom is universal. Anyone who has Chrome can use it. Camtasia is like a PC version of ScreenFlow. So there are lots of different options for doing that. If I had to pick one, I'd say always go with what Nick Julia is doing. If he's using Loom, that's a good one to go with.
Andrew, someone might be wondering, like, dang, this is a lot of work. Why should I even put this time and energy to attract a whale? And what happens if this whale person, says no, or like does not respond to me at all? What happens? Why should I do this?
I think if you pick the right people, you're going to be surprised by how often they respond and how favorably they look at the messages, at what you've created for them. I think if you find the right people, it's worth the time, number one. Number two, I think at this point we've gotten good enough that we can do this fairly quickly because we're using templates, because we're using the same landing page multiple times. And yes, I do agree, this does take a long time. Don't do this for everyone. If you're doing 428 different messages this week or this month, don't do 400 plus versions of this. Save it for the ones who you think are the best fits with your work. Save it for the whales. And for them, it's absolutely worth creating it, even if you're not on a call with them, even if there's a small chance that they will not respond to your email. All right, let's cover everything that we've talked about in this module. Module 4 is almost over, and what we've talked about is how you can get clients, of course, right? We've talked about identifying the right clients. Remember, we said that if they're doing Facebook ads, if they're doing email marketing, if they're doing both, they're really good clients for you, that you're going to guess who's going to be the perfect version of that, right? Maybe it's someone who sells physical products on Shopify. Maybe they're the right people. Maybe it's someone who's a crowdsourcing person. You want to just guess that. Number 2, systemize your sales. If you take nothing else from this, systemize and keep improving your system. Systems will be your salvation. Then we also talked about getting started with charging. What's the price that you get started with? We talked about getting recurring revenue. What do you charge for on an ongoing basis? Where do you start with your recurring revenue? We talked about how to do a persuasive video. One of the key points of that is that you should show them what it would look like if they were coming in, or if their users were coming in from the wild web, from the wild Facebook, whatever it is that you're showing them. Show them, here's the first thing that your people are going to see, a landing page, or here's the first thing your people are going to see, a slide, and whatever it is. That's how you start the persuasive video. And finally, how to scale your business. The reason we want it to be systemized is so if you're using Pipedrive, every column in your Pipedrive should be run by one person, should be owned by one person. And I'm not saying that you need, if you have 5 different columns, you need 5 different people on your team. I am saying, though, each column should basically have a person who's associated with it and who's in charge of it. All right, so let's go over what we've talked about in that first module. We said that we're going to talk about the one simple thing that will get people to read what you send. We covered that, right? That's that intriguing message, starts with an image, gets people to click the image, and lets them keep clicking through. We said that we'd show you how to know exactly who's ready to buy, and we talked about that with that the process of asking them, if I sold this, would you be interested? And only tagging the people who are interested as buyers and only putting them in the sequence so you know who's a good candidate for buying. We talked about the most powerful ways to get people to subscribe. Remember that slide in and how effective it is. Remember how easy it is to create a landing page using whatever your favorite software is. Remember content upgrades. We talked about how to get companies in this module, right? We can cross this one off, how to get companies to pay you to build chatbots for them. And the key, if you take nothing else away from it, is create that system and keep working on that. So what's next? What is next? Well, this is the last big module. This is the last big module, but we do have a lot more training for you coming up. And before that, even though we will hope that you'll keep learning and keep improving and want you to and want to be a part of your process to keep improving, and we've got, as I said, more video for you to watch and to learn from, I want to talk about certification. The next step that I would love everyone who's watching this to take is, after you finish the assignment for this, come back into our group and get certified. Certified means you get a Bot Academy certification, our stamp of approval saying that you know how to create not just bots, but how to create good bots. Bots that we, as a community of graduates of Bot Academy, that we, as the creators of Bot Academy, that we can all be proud of, right? If we let somebody through who sucks and we say, hey, he's certified, that person's representing all of us poorly. But we'd love for you to be so good that you represent all of us well, that you become an ambassador for everybody in the Bot Academy community. And so I'd love for you to do that. Now, I know that some people don't care about certification, right? I got my diploma from NYU and I never took it out of that actually, maybe I did one time. I took it out of that rolling thing that they put it in, that little cardboard roller. It's not on my wall. It's not showing up anywhere, but I got it. I know for some people, you like that. You don't need the certification. You're not going to put it on your wall. It's not going to help you get more business. For many, it will. For many, it will actually say, hey, this is a stamp of approval. But I know that for some of you, it won't be. That's okay. Let me tell you about this thing that I do in my backyard. I'm kind of climbing Mount Everest in my backyard. The way it works is, this is a screenshot from my phone. I use an app called Zwift. It connects to a smart trainer that connects to my bike. So basically my bike sits on a trainer that turns my regular outdoor bike into a stationary bike. And every time I pedal on that bike, my little character in this virtual world pedals too. And there's a challenge there. Can you climb enough, do enough cycling to get to like the fake top of Mount Everest? This past Sunday, I spent 3 hours putting in my time, adding more mileage so that I can get to the finish line. You can see I'm 92% complete. So I'm putting in a lot of time. At the end of this, when I get to 100%, when that little thing, that little piece of black is gone and it's all orange at the top and it says 100% complete, I will get a grand total of 0 new customers. 0 new dollars will hit my account. So why am I doing it? I'm doing it because the challenge makes me better. I'm doing it because the challenge made me get on my bike and work out for 3 hours on a day when I might have been too tired or too lazy to do anything. I'm doing it because it forced me to be better. It's not about the job I'm going to get because I get to the top of this virtual Mount Everest by climbing in my backyard on a bike that's stationary. And so even if you don't care about the new business that you're going to get from the certification from Bot Academy, do it so it'll push you to be better. Do it so it'll push you to achieve excellence, to be a better person, a better version of the person that you are now. So you can look back at this time of your life and say, I didn't just go through it. I got something. I achieved the badge. I achieved the goal. I got to the top of the mountain. So that's the next step that I'd like you to take. But to get there, we have one last big assignment, one last big collection of action items. Tim, what are those? And this time it's a shorter list, but it's an important one.
Awesome. And so you have your Google Doc up on the screen as well?
Yeah,
is that
this
right?
is the Google Doc. Above here is last module's work. What's the first thing that you want us to do?
Awesome. So there's only 4 steps to this action item, but they're the most important because this is what you're in the course for. You're in the course because you want to build a chatbot for your own business or for future clients. And this is where it all comes together. So step 1, to be first, identify your ideal client or identify your target client. Like we said earlier, it could be people in personal training, e-commerce. It could be dentists. It could be coaching. Wherever you want that you resonate most with, I want you to write down who you want to work with. And just, by the way, this is just a theory of who you would want to work with that would want your services. Like Andrew wrote authors. So boom, you can work with authors. Just because you wrote authors does not mean that you have to be stuck in that niche. This is just a theory. We just want to prove out that we have a system here and that we have someone to identify first as our ideal client.
There, people like Jeff Goins who buy Facebook ads. Okay, what's step number 2?
Perfect. Step number 2 is to create your system. Like we showed earlier in Module 4, we have our own system in Pipedrive. You can use SalesFlare. You can use Trello. Torben uses Google Sheets. Wherever system that works best for you, you saw our example, and we hope that you can use that as inspiration to create a system that works best for you.
Okay, let me grab my screenshot right here. Again, you can use the screenshot feature of your software, of your computer. I happen to be doing Control Command Shift 4 to do a screenshot, but you can use whatever is on your system, or you can use Sketch to do it. Okay, so that's step number 2. There's mine. Step number 3.
Nice. There are 2 more steps. Step number 3 is to reach out to 15 people. Now, these folks can be in your network. These folks could be cold emails or to whales that you want to reach out to. Reach out to at least 15 people. The reason why I want to get the word hustle tattooed on my right forearm is because I want to get the results. And I know if I want to get results, I want to put in the hard work to get there. So let's start off with just reaching out to 15 people. Remember, this is your superpower. You are helping your friends grow their business or sell more books or whatever their marketing goal is. You are helping them. So let's reach out to 15 people and see who you can help.
Okay, and then step number 4?
And step number 4 is, out of those 15 people, do at least one demo. There's going to be some folks who are like, oh, that's very interesting, Andrew. Tell me more about this chatbot thing and how can it help me? Let me see what you're actually up to. So do one demo out of these 15 people. And I know what you're thinking. Tam, you talk about hustle, but there's only 15 people here. Only one demo? Come on. I want to do more. I saw Torben do 400 messages on LinkedIn, and I know that I can do better than that. And I can get as much demand as possible so that I don't even have time to do demos with everyone else because I'm so swamped. I want to be like Torben. I want to be like Kelly and Mary and all the other students who have found success. And yes, I totally understand where you're coming from. But I know sometimes when I try to start a new workout or a new diet and I try to go all out and meal prep for 1 month straight, I burn out and I fall off the wagon. So for now, for this action item, reach out to 15 people and do at least one demo. Just
and you
start
want
off
to see
with
like the video that we create for that demo.
Yes.
So this is what I would put into the doc.
Yes. Just like we showed in the module, step by step, do at least one demo for one client. And let's just focus on that for now. And then as you get into the groove, as you start getting more success with these demos and more demand, that's when you'll increase the number of messages. And that's when you'll increase the number of demos. And if you do everything right and you see the system, you analyze what's working, what's not working, and you fix what's not working, you'll begin to see results and see clients. Put in the hard work, follow our system, and you will see results.
All right. Let's bring up our video so we can end this by saying goodbye to everyone. Hey. All right, guys. We've covered a lot here. I'm looking forward to seeing your work. I'm looking forward to seeing your progress. And Tam, we'll both be in the community, in emails. I know you're in the community much more than I am. But I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's progress just as much as you and everyone else in the program.
Yes, I'm excited for all of you to land your first client or land more clients if you've already landed clients, and keep on hustling.
Yeah, great place to end it. Let's keep going, guys.